let's get into the 4 free ways that you can start impacting your fertility right now, today. What you can actually start worrying and thinking about without having to go out and spend a lot of money or worry about this product, that product, or this product. We're going to be talking more about products in the coming weeks, but let's talk about what you can actually start to today. So you are in this group, in this community, because you want to give yourself that best possible chance of not just getting pregnant, but carrying that pregnancy to term. And this is what we do, myself, my team, inside the Fertility Confidence Method, which we help guide women on a step-by-step journey to give them that confidence that they are doing everything within their power to make a baby by working through my 3-pillar fertility success system. So if you are curious about Fertility Confidence Method, what it has to offer, how you can actually work with myself and my team, I'm going to pop a link at the end for a free clarity call into the bottom of this video. No money at all. We're just going to chat about your journey so far, getting some clarity on what's going on for you, what you might need to do to help move the needle forward. And if the Fertility Confidence Method is a good fit for you, we'll talk a little bit more about what that entails on the call. So you can I'll pop that link in at the end. Get on the schedule. We are already filling up for November, unfortunately, and we don't have many spaces left to enroll. So get your call on that schedule so that we can chat. But in the meantime, let's talk about what we can actually start implementing today to help boost your chances and what we can do that actually costs no money at all. So this journey can be an expensive one. I know that. I get it. I've been there, but also I help women, and sometimes it can get pricey. Or I'm meeting with women who have self-prescribed a lot of supplements, done a lot of things that haven't been completely targeted for them. So they've spent a lot of money. They've not only invested a lot of time, they've invested a lot of money in strategies that maybe weren't the best options for them. So what ends up happening in this situation is you're riding what I call the trial and error carousel. You're picking up random things that you've heard about, or maybe you've even seen in this group perhaps. You have no clue, really what they do, if they're even helping. And it's that trial and error carousel that can get really expensive. And it often doesn't get results. So getting targeted support and treatment is really where you should be investing your money. I don't want you to be wasting the resources that you have, especially if your resources are limited. Let's be targeted and make sure we're putting our eggs in the right basket. So free strategies, things that we maybe forget about, or we don't prioritize, or maybe some of these things, you already have implemented in your lifestyle, but you don't consider them being helpful for fertility. And sometimes it's just that mindset shift of, sure, this actually is doing me a lot of good, that then makes it feel worthwhile. And I think a good example of this is when I talk about movement with my private patients, my private practice clients. I'll ask them in the initial assessment, how do you move your body throughout the week? And sometimes I get people going like, oh, I don't move at all. I have a desk job, and I walk the dog like twice a day for 30 minutes, but that's it. And they feel, down on themselves for that. But I'm like, no, sure, you're walking the dog for the dog's sake. Like that walk is for the dog most of the time. I don't have a dog, but that's how I envision when people have dogs, that you walk the dog because the dog needs to get walked. Maybe not all the time because you want to go for a walk, maybe sometimes because you do, but most of the time, like, the dog has to go out. And we don't consider that as movement for us, even though you are moving your body. So sometimes it's about reframing strategies that you're already doing to actually help support your fertility. So number one, oh, my mouse is missing. Number one is sleep. Sleep is one of my 4 pillars of health for every human, regardless if you're trying to get pregnant or not. We need to be getting good quality sleep to not only feel like the best version of ourselves, but also to actually have the most balanced hormones. So bad sleep, bad hormones, bad for your fertility. So sleep becomes really important. Lack of sleep or poor quality sleep, it can really impact your adrenals and your cortisol regulation. Cortisol, our stress hormone, is an umbrella hormone. So if it's off, everything else is going to be impacted. So having poor cortisol regulation is going to put you at a higher risk of estrogen, progesterone imbalances, thyroid issues, insulin resistance, all very important pieces of the puzzle when you're trying to have a baby. So prioritize your sleep, go to bed, give your body the respect it deserves. It's not going to be perfect. Not every night is going to be amazing, especially if you struggle with insomnia. Then yes, making changes, it's going to take time and patience. It's not going to be an easy journey if you're someone who just doesn't get a lot of sleep. Good sleep hygiene is the first step. Have a wind down routine. Have a nighttime routine like we would do with babies and kids, because you also need to give your body those sleep cues that it's okay, it's time to relax. Turn off all of your electronics at least 30 minutes before bed, if not longer. Make sure your room is tidy and completely dark. If your room is a clustered mess, your brain is also going to be a clustered mess when you're trying to go to sleep. So put clutter away, clean up the things, get in your room, make sure it is like wicked dark. So take an inventory in your room of everything that gives off light. If you can't turn it off or cover it up, that's when you might need to wear an eye mask to really just block out where you are. Try to go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning. This will actually help regulate your circadian rhythm. So it becomes difficult for people who work shift work, which Brittany, I see your question, so I'll pop over there in a second, because obviously you have very little control over when you go to bed and when you rise. So things are a little bit different there. And we do see a lot more circadian rhythm and hormonal issues in women who are shift workers. So it definitely plays a role. But we can't always change our jobs, and you probably like your job most of the time, I hope. So we then need to work with that. But for people who do have control over when they go to bed and when they wake up, try to keep that consistent Sunday to Sunday, even on the weekends. Like, try to just remain consistent. Then your body will be much more inclined to fall asleep, stay asleep, wake up well when it's predictable for you. So that becomes a big factor. The last thing is blue light blocking glasses. I wear them in most of my videos. I'm not wearing them today. These are my like normal people glasses because I'm tired and I don't like wearing my contacts when I'm tired. So I'm just wearing my normal glasses, but I usually am wearing my blue light blockers. And our melatonin is our sleepy hormone, and it gets released at night to trigger us to go to bed. But our melatonin bank fills up throughout the day. So right now I'm sitting in front of my computer with a giant light on me and another computer beside me, and I sit here all day. And most of us sit in front of a computer all day. And the artificial light from the screen, and not only that, but then I'm also working on my phone as well. So it is just screen city over here for me. And it definitely impacts my sleep and my mood and my physical body as a whole. But we're working on it. And the blue light blockers actually will help to optimize your melatonin production throughout the day so that at night you actually have melatonin to be released. So we don't just make it and release it at night. We actually fill up a bank throughout the day. So if you're sitting in front of a screen all day in the blue light, in the artificial light, it is impacting your melatonin production, and you likely won't have as good a quality of sleep throughout the night. Also, if we take this back to fertility, we're seeing a lot of really cool studies coming out that melatonin does play a really large role in egg quality. So women who have higher melatonin levels in follicular fluid having better pregnancy outcomes. I'm now using melatonin in my practice and in Fertility Confidence Method as an egg quality support supplement. It's a really strong antioxidant. So we have some really good data to confirm that melatonin supplemented can be really important, but we also should be taking good care of our endogenous production as well. Okay, Brittany, I sleep great unless I'm working night shift. Yeah, I struggle so much with getting good quality sleep during the day, especially when you work 3 nights in a row. I know, I hear you. And whenever I work with a client who is a shift worker, I'm always just like, oh, like it is hard. It's really hard. So especially because you're like off and on and off and on. So taking melatonin is something I highly, highly recommend. Check with your care provider, not medical advice, but I highly recommend to help regulate your circadian rhythm. I've actually had some shift workers who will use a spray, and they'll just do a little spray actually throughout their shift. They'll keep it in their pocket. So throughout the night, a little spray so that they're building up their melatonin. And then when they go to sleep during the day, they actually have had a good dosage, but not enough that it's going to like knock you out during your shift work. And then like dark eye mask is an absolute must. Like absolute must, because it's the only way you're going to even get remotely any REM sleep when you're trying to sleep after night shift. But I feel hard for you. It's not easy. Okay, so number 1 was sleep. Let me have a sip of my coffee because I'm already losing my voice. Okay, anyone else feel like this was the longest week ever? I don't know, maybe, I know there's like a big super moon coming tomorrow, or a full moon, super moon, whatever. And I'm sure that's impacting me to some degree, but I feel like this week was really, really long. So does anyone else feel like that? So tired. Okay, number 2 is movement. So we talked a little bit about this at the beginning. We need to be moving our bodies, and it can, greatly impact mental health, which is where we see a lot of research with movement and exercise. And that's crucial, but we also get a lot of hormonal benefits from it as well. So let's take this for an example with women with PCOS or insulin resistance. If you've been diagnosed, or if you suspect you have insulin resistance, research shows that 30 minutes of movement, moderate intensity movement, 3 to 4 times a week, can actually improve insulin levels, or not only lowering insulin levels, but improve insulin sensitivity, meaning your cellular receptors that need to use insulin to help regulate blood sugar work better when we're moving our bodies. And in private practice, I have seen women not do any supplements, but just start to move their bodies. And I'm talking like walking. I'm not saying they're joining CrossFit or like doing anything super aggressive, just walking for like 30 to 45 minutes almost every day, and they're taking into account nutrition choices, and that's enough to actually improve their insulin sensitivity and decrease their insulin, balance their blood sugar. So it can be a really potent tool, not just for the mental mindset aspect of this journey, which is hard, but also for other components of your body as well. So like I said, you don't need to become an Olympic weightlifter. You don't need to join CrossFit. You don't need to spend an hour or 2 at the gym every day of the week, but some sort of intuitive movement. And by that, I mean what feels good for you. It's going to look different for everybody. This can really improve your chances of actually having a healthier pregnancy as well. So exercise research during pregnancy has shown us that it reduces risk of preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, and preterm birth. So let's go back to the concept of intuitive movement. In the comments, regardless if you're watching the replay or watching this live, let me know, what does intuitive movement look like for you? What does your body like to do? Maybe it is strength training. Maybe it is yoga, like weights, swimming, walking, dancing, like doing yard work. For some people, that's like their jam. For me, no. We have like a bajillion leaves in my front yard right now. My kids like love when we rake them up, but then we let them play in them and they just end up back all over the lawn until the day where we can actually put them on the road for them to pick them up. So like, I'm not a big yard work person. And for me right now, because I'm so busy and, I am definitely harboring some adrenal issues. So I'm really being mindful of energy. Is I do once a week strength training with my personal trainer who I love. And if I didn't have her, I probably wouldn't do it. But then I'm also, going for walks with the kids, playing with the kids. I'm trying to do a little bit of yoga. And if anything, just some gentle stretching. If I really don't have it in me, then let's just do some gentle stretching, and that counts. So cleaning, like we can think of so many different ways that we can actually move our body. Brittany's wondering if lifting and strength training is okay, or if that's too much. No, it's totally okay. So we've talked about this in the group before about over exercising. Like we can over exercise, and that can cause harm to the adrenals, harm to the hormones and actually be a negative impact. But it's all going to look different of what is too much for you is going to be different than what's too much for somebody else. So if you feel good and energized doing lifting and strength training and you're refueling your body with lots of protein and healthy fats, it's amazing that that's what you enjoy doing. Working 12-hour shifts, fall off the train. Yeah, it must be so hard for you with 12-hour shifts and going like 12, I'm sure you do like 4 12s in a row, and then it takes you time to recover, and then all of a sudden you're back at it. So yeah, but I feel the exact same way, Brittany. Even when I'm tired, even when I really don't feel like it, I feel so much better after I move, even if it's just a walk outside because the fresh air and I mean, if it's pretty and not freezing, then I'm happy. But Mondays is when I meet with my trainer, and I have the best day on Mondays. I get so much more work done. I feel so much better. I usually have a better sleep, which is motivating for me to figure out how to fit it in my schedule a little bit more. Okay, so 1, sleep. You're all going to start prioritizing sleep. 2, you're all going to start prioritizing some sort of movement, low and slow. If you don't move your body right now, just set a goal of like 2 20-minute walks next week, and that's it, and work up from there. You don't have to like go hog wild trying to fit all of this exercise in all of a sudden. Number 3 is meditation. So mindset in this journey is key. It's absolutely key. And like I've mentioned already, and like you're experiencing, and so I don't need to tell you again, it's not an easy journey for a lot of people. So taking some time, even if it's just for 5 minutes, to sit, to breathe, to connect with yourself, it can really help you process through the hard shit. Process through your period starting again. Process through your best friend getting pregnant. We need time to actually be with these emotions, not just trying to push them away, because that's going to build up in here, and we don't want that to be happening. So I personally, again, I'm sure you guys have noticed, though I say I don't have much energy, I'm also a very like, I don't know, maybe it's high strung. I don't know. Maybe I turn it on for the camera, but like behind the scenes, I really love laying down. But I do like to be busy. If I didn't like to be busy, I wouldn't have the business and job that I have. I wouldn't do all of these things if I didn't enjoy being busy. So sometimes sitting to meditate doesn't feel natural to me, because I'm like, well, I should be doing something, you know? And so that can be sort of a block for a lot of people with meditation, is they're like, well, why am I just sitting here? Like, what a waste of time. I'm not getting any benefit out of this. So for me, I really like guided meditations. I find that it gives me something to actually focus on so that I can quiet my subconscious mind. What I usually recommend in Fertility Confidence Method, and we've talked about it in the group before, is Circle and Bloom. It's a wonderful company that has packages of guided fertility focused meditations, and they have all sorts of kits set up. So if you're trying naturally, or you're doing IVF or IUI or donor eggs, or if you have PCOS, they have all sorts of little things that will be more focused and geared to you and what you're going through. There's also an app, and I can post a link for that if you guys are interested. Let me know. I'm actually doing a talk in their community in a couple of weeks, so I'll let you know when that is, and you can come over and join me there. We're going to talk about egg quality. There's also a free app called, I think it's free, I might be lying, it's called Expectful, and it too has fertility focus and then also pregnancy focused meditations that some of my clients have really enjoyed. So beyond that, beyond those two, tons of free resources on YouTube. Like, you don't have to get fancy with it at all. Just find something that resonates with you, something that you actually enjoy listening to. That's the most important part. But working on mindset, working on mental health, it's going to make you stronger and more resilient moving forward. And I don't think we can really ever fully comprehend how our subconscious mind really does impact our day-to-day. Even if you don't feel it, it's there. So during that 2-week wait, when it's, the hardest, or those first couple days of your period, using meditation as a tool to just really ground yourself and trust the process, it can be extremely therapeutic and very, very helpful. And then, okay, let me go back here. So Ashley wants to know if it's okay to work out in the evening. It is. So there's some trainers and people, and I mean, I'm not a fitness expert by any means, but as a hormone expert, exercise naturally increases cortisol. So we don't want to be jacking our body up with cortisol and then trying to get into bed and go to sleep. So if evening is the only time you really have to work out, as far away from bed as you can, and having a much, much stronger wind down routine is important. And or you can use adaptogens in the evening. So if you are going to work out late and then want to be going basically to bed like within the hour, again, not medical advice, but doing something like phosphatidylserine can actually help to just bring that cortisol down before bed. So we have some strategies to kind of work on. If you don't find it impacts you, if you have great sleep working out in the evening, I wouldn't worry about it too much. So just kind of go with how you feel. And then the fourth one, number 4, and probably the most basic, but most important, is water. So simple, but all of us are dehydrated. Maybe not every day, but most days. We're all a bunch of dehydrated humans walking around most of the time. And I'm not immune to this either. I haven't had any water today. I'm still working on my coffee. That's a lie. I've had like a cup of water to take my supplements, and that's it. And it's almost noon. So now I'm going to spend the whole rest of my afternoon trying to catch up and peeing a lot, which isn't smart, but I put myself in this position. This is my bed, and now I will sleep in it. We shouldn't have to think about it this hard, but the sad reality is we often do. A lot of us aren't natural like water drinkers, but it's so important for all aspects of our life. Honestly, our cells need water to function. If our cells are dehydrated, everything is impacted. From a fertility standpoint, think about it from our vaginal discharge. We need water to make vaginal discharge, and we need that raw egg white fertile mucus leading up to ovulation to help increase the pH of the vaginal canal and create that sperm highway. So if you're dehydrated in your follicular phase, you might not notice egg white cervical mucus. You might not have a lot. You might not be making any at all, even if your hormones are telling your body to. So think of it as a really crucial building block leading into ovulation. Estrogen is what actually signals the cervix to make this discharge. But like I said, if you're dehydrated, it's just not going to happen. You need those simple building blocks in place for your body to actually do the things. Water is one of those simple building blocks. Our cells, our mitochondria, they make ATP, they make energy. This is important not just for moving and breathing and living and going through our day, but for egg quality as well. If your mitochondria are dehydrated because your cells are dehydrated, your energy production is going to suffer. So we really want to make sure you're drinking water throughout the day. Don't be like me and wait till lunchtime. About 2 liters, a little less, a little more, depending on you, is important. There's no real, honestly, like magic number of water. Someone many moons ago, some dude said you should drink 8 glasses, and he pulled that out of his ass, and now that's what we've been going off of, is 8 glasses. There's truly no scientific evidence around that. So I use 2 liters is 8 glasses. So I'm not helping the situation by using his recommendation, but 2 liters is a pretty good number to go off of. And some people will need more. They'll still feel like they need more with 2. Some people might feel good at 1.5. So 2 is a good place to kind of aim for, I feel. Remember that caffeine doesn't count as fluid, doesn't count as water. So my coffee doesn't count as water, even though this is decaf. So there's a little bit of caffeine in decaf, but I still don't count this as water just because there's other components in coffee that are diuretics, meaning they make you pee more. So you're actually flushing water out of your system. Herbal teas, non-caffeinated, but herbal teas can count. Again, as long as they're not a diuretic. So red raspberry leaf, nettle, 2 fairly common herbal teas in the fertility pregnancy world, they are not going to count as water. So just be a bit more mindful of what you are getting because your cells need it to do what they need to do, basically. So all in all, that's all 4 strategies. So at a time where it feels like there's, a million different things that you can be or you should be doing to help your chances, sometimes really taking it back to the basics is actually the best option. So we need to lay this foundational groundwork before you can really influence change on other levels. And inside Fertility Confidence Method, we talk about this up front: nutrition, movement, mindfulness, sleep. These are all 4 pieces we cover in pillar 1 because we want to lay that foundational groundwork. So when we start trying to work on hormones, your body actually listens and it's in a state best to respond. So lay the groundwork, focus on the basics, do the free and easy strategies first. We can't out supplement a garbage lifestyle. You can't out supplement and support your hormones and your egg quality if you aren't sleeping, if you aren't moving, if you're eating like junk. It's just not going to happen. So you need to focus on those things and then ask the question, what could I be taking? What else could I be doing? Are there supplements that might help me? Once you lay the groundwork, that's when those questions should be being asked. So let me know in the comments if one of these 4 habits, let me know 2 things. Let me know if you feel like you're actually excelling in one of these 4. So sleep, movement, mindfulness or meditation, and water. Let me know if one of those you're like, yeah, I got this in the bag. I sleep amazing. I prioritize exercise. And then let me know if you have one of these you feel like you need to improve on. What did we talk about today that you're like, you know what? Yeah, I could be better at that. That might actually be a game changer for me. Not just from a fertility standpoint, but from a whole health standpoint. These are very generic and basic recommendations that are not just important from a fertility world, but from your entire body overall. These are going to impact so many different areas. And truthfully, we need your entire body to be healthy to impact change on the fertility level. So let me know. Oh, thank you, Brittany. That's like the most wonderful compliment I've ever read. You're so sweet. I'm just going to go back because I saw May had a question about red raspberry leaf tea and nettle during ovulation phase. Yes, so nettle, lots of minerals, iron. Again, it's a diuretic. It's also great for allergies. There's no harm in you drinking it around ovulation. Red raspberry leaf tea, I personally don't usually recommend it during fertility. I recommend it during pregnancy. It's not necessarily going to be harmful. And I know other people do recommend it during TTC. So they are safe. So Shannon needs to drink more water. Yep, you and me both today, friend. So Brittany does well with sleep other than when you're on night shift, and movement, but definitely need to work on the meditation and the water for sure. And Vicky says the same. Sleep is good, but workout routine. It's so hard. It's hard to get into a routine, but you guys can do it. And like I mentioned, just start low and slow. So if you were used to going to the gym 4 days a week and maybe COVID like totally rocked your world and now you're having a hard time getting back into a routine, that's fine. Just start with 1 day. Just 1 day. Get into that consistency, add in the second, get into that consistency, add in the third. You don't have to be all or nothing. You can be somewhere floundering in the middle trying to figure it out. It's okay. So if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments. If you have a question for me, please tag me at Kelsey Duncan so that I see it. If not, I won't see it. But I'm going to let you guys go and I will see you all really soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday and happy Halloween. I hope you guys have a wonderful night tomorrow night and get to celebrate in some way or another.